Hello everybody and welcome to Friday's edition of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. Now, before the show starts, I want you to go back to the start, put your captions on and let me know what it says down below when I introduce the show, because I keep getting messages of people telling me that the captions keep thinking I'm saying, welcome to the Crisp Retard Show. I don't know if they know something I don't know or what, but it'd be funny to find out what it says today. Anyway, let's have a little bit of housekeeping and then it's on which show. The simple bit of housekeeping is asking you to subscribe to the channel. Over 60% of you aren't subscribed to the channel. So why not just hit that subscription button? You don't have to hit that notification bell. I know at the minute people like to wait for their highlights on TV before coming over to YouTube and finding out what everybody's talking about. So if you don't want to hit that notification button, I don't mind, as long as you hit that subscription button, because more subscriptions mean more views, mean more money, means I can pay my bills, meaning I don't have to get a normal job, meaning I can keep creating content for you, which means that you're actually subscribing for yourself rather than me. So do yourself a favour and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Let's get on with the show. This segment of the show is brought to you in association with Lemsip, because I still feel like rubbish. Anyway, I'm not going to let that stop me giving you the news. And yesterday, because I felt so jaded and rubbish, I forgot to mention stage 3 of the Tirreno Adriatico. So how about we have a little catch up, stages 3 and stages 4 of Tirreno Adriatico. Stage 3 was all about the GC riders. There was an 8-rider breakaway, and included in that was Lotto Soudal's Matthew Holmes, repping it for the British riders. Check this descent out here from Marco Frappotti. Unbelievable. He managed to go up the road himself a little bit, but the main GC contenders were always going to pull any breakaways back. At 8.8 kilometres, this is when the GC moves were made. Geraint Thomas there, you can see. The gradient here, you can see that is a steep old gradient. We're about 20%. Michael Woods showing immense form, and both him and Rafa Majka managed to get away on the descent. They managed to get that gap up to 17 seconds with just under 3 kilometres to go, and they both came to the line together. And it was Michael Woods who started his sprint first. Rafa Majka was, he either didn't have it in his legs or he was just very, very tired, but he was not that bothered about that one, was he? But boom, look at that. After suffering a broken leg in Paris-Nice, he is back, which puts him in the lead of the overall general classification, 5 seconds ahead of Rafael Majka. Wilco Kelderman finished in 3rd, and in that GC group, 30 seconds down on Woods was Thomas, Conrad, Hainaut, Masnada, Kanga, Yates and Vlasov. Stage 4 was 194 kilometres, and this again was another day for the GC contenders. Some sexy little mountains in this one, look. So there was an additional 2 riders in this break compared to stage 3. There was 10 riders in this breakaway in total, and they got 3 minutes and around 13 seconds up the road at 74 kilometres to go. Matthias Frank clearly wasn't happy with this pace. He accelerated and tried to break this group up. And Michael Matthews, someone you wouldn't consider to shut down attacks on climbs, was able to actually go with the 2 riders who started to drop the other breakaway riders. Matthews again going on the attack, trying to drop a few more riders for the intermediate sprint there. The front group swelled to 5 riders, but then it soon dropped down again to 3 riders as Louis Mikas was on the front trying to rip it apart. But it was always going to come back. Same as stage 3. The GC riders were going to come to the fore, and it was Simon Yates who tried to apply the pressure to Woods to try and break him. Geraint Thomas looked like he was able to close that gap down relatively comfortable. G's form is clearly coming. And those 5 riders managed to get a little gap to the 7 behind them, but that 7 worked together to make sure that that all came back together. And then it was Lucas Hamilton who went over the top of that group to try and split it up again. And both him and Fausto Masnada would take it to the line in a 2-up sprint, managing to put around 15 seconds into that blue jersey group. And this was a long old sprint from Lucas Hamilton. I think that caught Masnada a bit by surprise. He wasn't expecting him to go early, but look how long he's sprinting for. Obviously, it's a slight uphill drag as well to this finish line, so I guess that helped him. But there you go, boom. Lucas Hamilton takes the victory. And by taking that victory, Lucas Hamilton moved up into 4th place. 2nd place rider Fausto Masnada moved himself up into 3rd place. But Michael Woods is still topping the leaderboard, 9 seconds ahead of Rafa Majka. All right, let's move on to Tour de France chat now. And before we get to stage 13, let's just have a quick look back at stage 12, because we also what happened yesterday. Mark Hirschi, after 2 previous attempts of trying to take a stage victory, he did it in emphatic style on stage 12. Hirschi put in a 28-kilometre solo attack and time trialled it all the way to the finish line. And in claiming that victory, his fellow countryman and probably one of the most successful, is he the most successful Swiss rider in the world? Fabian Cancellara? Well, speaking to Het Nieuwsblad, Cancellara said that Mark Hirschi's life is about to change completely because of that stage win. Now, Mark Hirschi is set for stardom, there's no doubt about it. And Cancellara went as far as saying that he's capable of winning Amstel Gold, Il Lombardia and Liège-Bastogne-Liège. But here's a question. Do riders' lives completely change after a Tour de France stage victory? Now, obviously, you've got those stages that are synonymous with the Tour, finishing on Alpe d'Huez, Mont Ventoux, and pretty much any hilltop finish, or the Champs-Élysées. Maybe a time trial, but is that the same for every single kind of stage? Listen, I'm not taking away from anything that he achieved yesterday. In fact, everything he's achieved over the past 2 weeks on the Tour de France. However, like, how does his life change? Does he add a couple of zeros to his bank account now? Do teams look at him and give him a longer contract? Does he get pushed out into the public domain in different areas other than cycling? I don't know, it'd be interesting to find out. Like, do you know any Tour stage winner whose life didn't change? They just carried on as they were and that was it. I don't know. Leave your comments down below. Like I say, I hope his life changes for the better because he deserves it, because the boy has clearly got talent. Anyway, enough of stage 12. Stage 13 is the stage we were all looking forward to after that first rest day. 7 categorized climbs. Starting the day off 36 kilometers into the stage with a Cat 1 climb, followed by a Cat 3, then a Cat 2, then the intermediate sprint, then another Cat 3, then another Cat 3, then a Cat 2, and finishing off with a mountaintop finish up on Mary, a Cat 1 climb. 5.4 kilometers at 8.1% average gradient. Hesh. The scene was set. Stage 13 was going to go off. And did it ever? So what I'm going to do now is do another throw to the recap, but without bigging it up, because I'm recording this prior to it actually being on TV, so I have no idea what's happening. So just bear with me. Shh, don't tell anybody else. The scene was set. Stage 13 was set to be a humdinger, but unfortunately we got nothing more than a dumminger. See, and then if it is a real good stage, I use the first cut. If it's a rubbish stage, then I use the second one, and no one's none the wiser. Shh, our little secret. So originally, as the stage got underway, there was an initial break of 6 riders, including the polka dot jersey, Benoit Confoy, TJ Van Garderen, Niels Pollitt, Remy Cavagna, Nicolo Bonifacio, and Simon Geschke. They were then joined by Alessandro Di Marchi, Dan Martin, and Julian Alaphilippe. And then unsurprisingly, Thomas de Gendt, he had a bit of a zest out of the front of the peloton trying to catch that group, but he got caught by the peloton. And eventually the breakaway group established itself with 15 riders. Pavel Sivakov, Brian Coquard, Daryl Impey, Aviti, Jack Bauer was in there, Matteo Trentin, Nance Peters, Peter Sagan, Lennart Kemner, Nielsen Paulus, Rudy Mollard, Romain Sicard, Marc Soler, and Gorka Izagirre. And as you guessed, with 7 categorized climbs in this stage, riders were going out the bike, they were coming forward. It was a messy day all the way through to keep an eye on who was in the breakaway, who was in those groups dropping back, who was coming out of the peloton going forward. I got completely lost at one point, so we'll pick the action up. There was a crash in the peloton. Romain Bardet went down, Nairo Quintana went down, as well as Bauke Mollema. Now, it looked like Romain Bardet had come off worse. He was down on the ground, and for a couple of seconds, he wasn't actually moving, which looked pretty serious, but thankfully, he managed to get back up on his bike, and he set off. Unfortunately, Bauke Mollema, however, he had to abandon the race due to his injuries after that crash. With 38 kilometers, this is where the action really hotted up. Nielsen Paulus going off on the attack, managing to get a 28-second lead ahead of the rest of his group. And he eventually extended that up to 52 seconds. And then Max Schachmann of Bora Hansgrohe, he jumped across and eventually caught Paulus. While back in the peloton at 27 kilometers to go, Ineos Grenadiers started to apply the pressure on the rest of the peloton. It didn't appear that they wanted to catch that breakaway, however, it did appear that they weren't happy with the makeup of the remaining peloton. So they just wanted to start applying some pressure on it, start trying to get a few people out the back and just see how Egan Bernal's legs were feeling. And ultimately we'll find out that they weren't feeling great. At 20k to go, Schachmann had eventually caught Paulus and they started working together to ensure that their gap started to extend over the chasers behind. That was until 2 kilometers later when Schachmann decided he was going to go off on his own. And then in what would be the moment or the ride of the day was Danny Martinez attacking alongside his namesake, Dan Martin and Marc Soler, to try and catch Schachmann, along with Schachmann's teammate, Bora Hansgrohe's Leonard Kemner, which meant that Bora Hansgrohe would be taking 2 riders into that final climb if they could get to Schachmann. As they reached the top of the climb with 11 kilometres to go, Danny Martinez and Leonard Kemner had dropped Dan Martin out of that group alongside Marc Soler. They were down at 57 seconds behind, and it was down to Martinez really to catch Schachmann, because there was no way Leonard Kemner was going to be doing anything to chase down his teammate. And then with just over 1.5 kilometres, Danny Martinez manages to catch Max Schachmann. Now, bearing in mind that Danny Martinez had been riding the last 15-20 minutes with Kemner on his back wheel, refusing to do a turn, he just sat there and pegged Schachmann back, and it appeared, well, you knew what was going to happen. Leonard Kemner was going to give him the old 1-2, go over the top, and that'd have been it. Good night, Vienna. Danny Martinez would have nothing left. But when Leonard Kemner attacked, Martinez, boom, was right on him. And in that moment, you kind of thought, hold on one second, Danny Martinez has got this. And with 150 metres to go, Leonard Kemner gave it one more attack. And I'll be honest, it looked like Danny Martinez had nothing left in the bank. He looked like he was empty, but he just clawed him back. And with 100 metres to go, he eventually caught him past Leonard Kemner and took an amazing victory on stage 13. But really, all the action was kind of like 10 minutes back down the road, where the GC contenders were just beating the shit out of each other. So when the cameras eventually cut back to those GC riders, it was Tadej Pogacar and Primož Roglic on the front, just smashing it to pieces. And you'd expect Egan Bernal to be behind them, but he wasn't. He ended up getting dropped from that group, and it was Richie Porte in third from those GC contenders that was doing all the chasing. There was a group of Richie Porte, Mikel Landa and Miguel Angel Lopez who were doing all the work to try and get back to that Pogacar and Primož Roglic group. Egan Bernal, Adam Yates, out the back. Egan looked like he was struggling. Richie Porte, although he didn't actually catch them, he tried on a couple of occasions to try and just close that gap, but Primož Roglic, he's looking way too strong. I mean, fair play, he's the favourite going in. He was the fittest, he was the strongest, but you almost wish he'd just have just one bad day to make him really work, but he looked so comfortable. Tadej Pogacar pushed him hard, and I think, had these two not been from the same country, then there could have been a slightly different finish to this, because I think Pogacar might have tried to do one over on Roglic, but I think because of the time gap between the two, it was better for Pogacar to try and work with Roglic and to try and get them to the top together, rather than Pogacar trying to attack Roglic and potentially putting himself into all sorts of trouble when Roglic can just close him down and then he gets spat back out the back, and then Egan Bernal ends up actually catching him as well. So it was probably the best thing to do for Pogacar. However, I still think he's got something a little left in him if he needs to really go really deep to try and secure that second place or chase down Roglic for that first place. Anyway, this is how the GC looks now. In fact, let's just have a look at how it stood before the start of stage 13. So, Primož Roglic was leading from Egan Bernal by 21 seconds. Guillaume Martin in third at 28 seconds. Romain Bardet fourth at 30 seconds. And then Quintana and Uran both on 32 seconds behind. And there you can see Pogacar 44 seconds behind. And then boom, after stage 13, Pogacar moves up 5 places, up into second place, still 44 seconds behind as he was crossing the line with Primož Roglic. But you can see there that Egan Bernal's lost a place. He's down now 59 seconds behind Roglic. Uran, 1 minute 10. Nairo Quintana, 1 minute 12. Miguel Angel Lopez, he moves himself up a couple of places, 1 minute 31 behind now. Yates picks up a place himself into 7th place, 1 minute 42 behind. Mikel Landa up 2 places, Richie Porte up 2 places, Enric Mas up 2 places. However, you can't help thinking it's kind of almost over. I hate saying it because I want to see action. However, the way the riders are going and the gaps that were put on in that relatively short climb, yes, it was a category 1, there were some steep parts in it, but it didn't really kick up till the last 2 kilometres. Anything can happen in the Tour de France, but with Roglic looking like the form he's on, if he keeps that, there's no one beating him. Tadej Pogacar probably knows that, and he's going to secure himself in second place, and I'm sure Primož will have a word with him and say, hey, fellow countryman, get in line, it's my Tour de France this year. you follow me, I'll give you a little, that's money, he's not going to feel him up. He's going to give him some money and just say, come on, follow me. He might not, I don't know. I don't know if that's legal or not. Come on. And then they both secure first and second. Then it'll kind of be a fight for that third place. But who cares about third place? Who finished third place in the 2016 Tour de France? No one knows, no one cares. Unless you're that person. And then it was an amazing achievement. But as ever, let me leave it with you. What was your highlight of stage 13? Seeing Tadej Pogacar drop the GC contenders, albeit Primož Roglic? Or what about the ride from Danny Martinez, keeping his composure to chase down Schachmann without burning all his matches, even when Kemna was on his back wheel? Or was there another standout ride for you that I just don't know about? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you've not done already, but you probably already have done because I told you at the start of the video. If you've disliked it for whatever reason, hit that dislike button. If you want notifications, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live with our videos. Streams are coming back. What? Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.